What's up, party people? It's Chris from ProPhoto, and this is Geared Up. This is our weekly live broadcast where we talk about all things lighting, lighting techniques, gear. If you want to talk about gear, I mean, the thing's called Geared Up. So if you're watching this on ProPhoto.com, you can actually, there'll be some, whenever we're talking about things, you'll see like some little pictures pop up in the top corner. So if you want some more information on the things that we're talking about today, like the A10 or click gels or any of that good stuff, you can just click on that bad boy right there if you're watching on ProPhoto.com. If you're not, if you're on YouTube or Facebook, those links aren't going to be there. But if you do want that full experience, you can go and click the link in the, I think it's in the comment section, and go right over to ProPhoto.com and watch it there. There's also a lot of chat stuff going on over there too. If you have any questions, we can talk about that. That being said, let's get into what we're talking about today. So today is all about creating golden hour. It's one of those things that people really love, especially when you're just getting into photography, because the light's really great. So you find a lot of people are always trying to schedule their sessions around certain times of the day to, you know, maximize that soft light that you're getting, that soft diffused light from the sky, and that golden look that you're getting from the sun. But as a professional, you need to be able to know how to do that all the time. You know, maybe you're starting to get to the point in your profession where you don't want to work at those hours. Maybe you don't want to get up at 6 in the morning. Maybe you don't want to be working at 7, 8 o'clock at night. The cool thing about lighting is we can make all of that stuff happen whenever we want to, wherever we want to. So we could be here in the studio, which is what we're going to do today. We're going to make it here in the studio. But this applies, sorry, I clicked my, oh, it turned on, oh, it turned on my modeling light. That's awesome. The thing that was worrying me is I clicked it and I was like, I have no idea what I just messed up at all. But that being said, you have to be able to know how to do this stuff anytime, anywhere. So all the stuff that we're doing here in the studio, this stuff applies outside. So you might have to make a couple little tweaks. We'll talk about those tweaks, but in the interim, it's just really, really fun. So let's kind of get the whole premise of like what golden hour is. Golden hour is really, really diffused light because the sun's down low, right? The main thing lighting your subject is the sky that is honestly lit by the sun. So it's acting like a big, gigantic softbox. So the first characteristic that we want to think in our brain along those lines is, okay, we need soft light. So because we're trying to mimic that golden hour, and that light is soft because the sky is acting like a softbox, the sun's not direct, we need to go soft light. So our first light is a umbrella. We went with the medium umbrella in white because we know from the umbrellas episodes that we've talked about, the umbrella gives a nice natural finish. It's not very, very pointed. It's a really, really clean light. So it's a great option for this. Inside of this umbrella, we have an A10 with a click. I think we're going I think I have a half CTO.
There we go.
Yeah, I think I have a half of a CTO in here because my full CTOs are on these two lights on the background, which we'll talk about. So we have a full CTO or a half CTO in this light right here just to kick back some warm light. Then we want to think about what is it that's creating the golden hour. It's the sun, right? The sun low in the sky. When the sun gets lower in the sky too, it's a lot warmer, a lot more orange light. So we have another A10 right here, and I have it kind of kicked over a little bit because I want the light's going to creep into the shot because I want it to flare a little bit more. That's also going to help kind of give it a light, airy feel. So, and let's talk about the things, and we'll talk about what makes things light and airy here in just a second, but let's finish up with this light. So a light and airy feel, because it's going to knock the contrast down because that's what a flare does. It just brings the contrast way, way down. So it'll look really, really gorgeous. And then once again, like I said, I have it kicked over here to the side. That way, the light stand's not in the shot, but we'll still get the light and it'll feel like the sun, which is cool. Full CTO, click gel on this bad boy. Cool stuff. And then I have this one, and what we'll do is we'll take all the shots and we'll build them one by one so you can kind of see how the light progression happens. But this one right here is here just for extra ambient, extra fill. So the thing that makes a photo feel light and airy sometimes is going to be shooting a little more shallow depth of field, so a little more wide open. So on my camera, I'm actually shooting f2 today, whereas normally we're always like at f8. So we're f2, so it starts to get a little softer as it falls off, but The other thing that makes a shot feel light and airy is less contrast. So we're already dropping the contrast down with the flare that's going to happen from our sun. So with the flare, that's going to bring the contrast down, but adding this right here, we're bouncing this up into the ceiling just to add some more room tone. Also with a CTO gel on it, so it should kind of keep any gradients on the background from happening. But once again, bringing that overall contrast down. That way, it starts to feel, again, light and airy. Less contrast is going to help kind of feel light and airy. You start adding more contrast, you're going to start, and you start having more directionality out of your light. That's going to start feeling a little more dramatic. So it's just something to remember. If you're outside, you can still light all this stuff. You just may not need this light right here. What you can do is you can just use your shutter speed to slow the your shutter speed down to bring in more ambient light and change your white balance. Everything good?
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Cool, just making sure. Changing our white balance to make sure that everything matches. And then you can eliminate this one and just use your shutter speed. Same thing outside applies too. So maybe the sun's gone down a little bit more than you'd like it to. You can just put this light at the horizon line or at like a tree line or something like that where the sun would be when it's creating the golden hour. So again, this still applies. You can put this light right there. And then this right here is supposed to just be that soft, again, fill that you would normally get from shooting soft light. So that being said, let's take some photographs. You ready to rock and roll, Kate?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Everything good in the land of milk and honey?
Oh yeah. I just, have a whole bunch of alligator clips.
Oh yeah. I was like, man, you're fidgeting like something's going on. So I'm gonna kill this light. What we're gonna do is I've got this other little light that we're gonna run kind of low, and I'm just doing that because
everybody can see real good.
Yeah, I'm gonna kick this light on for a second. So I'm running this other light with a CTO on it a little low so it doesn't infect the shot too much, but you can kind of still see what's going on. It's just another video light bounced up into the ceiling. So that being said, I'm gonna take my air remote, I'm gonna turn off all my lights except for the main. Let's turn everything off. Let's go to group A. Cool. And we're going to turn the main light on. So here we go. Here's just the main light. Right here, I'm gonna just double check to make sure that I've got focus. There we go, 3, 2, 1. So there is your main light. Really, really soft, really natural looking light. It's very, very pretty. Again, that's what we want. We want it to feel like that diffused look that we're getting from the sky. Sweet. So let's add our sun in and really start to bring this home. So let's go to group B. We'll power on that light. And you can also, just really fast too, you can see, like in the first shot, you can see that flash head in the shot, but watch what happens whenever we take this photo. 3, 2, 1, boom. That's the sunshine. So we have a lot of the highlights that you would get, clearly a lot of the highlights that you get from the sun. And if this is a little more than you'd like, you could bring that intensity back. That's a totally subjective thing. I wanted a little more flare, so I pumped the power up, but it looks really cool. Now let's bring up the room a little bit more and just kind of bring the whole thing home. Let's go to group C, head on, and we go 3, 2, 1, lovely. So now the room came up a little bit more. It's kicking light around a little bit, a couple more places. Give me, go hand back to the, to the shoulder, no, to the shoulder, just so the 3 shots that we line up can be relatively similar.
So, sounds good.
All right, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Because I think the thing that would have happened is the
oh right.
There's a highlight here that would have tripped some people out. So cool. So a really, really easy setup. I think that's pretty good.
Done with me?
Yeah, I think I'm done with you for the time being. I'm done with you.
Me and my Gorilla Clips are gonna head on back over here.
Tons and tons of Gorilla Clips. So let's kill this light and let's bring our main lights back up. Let's go. So cool, we're good there. 40% there. Let's bring our overheads back. One of these years I'm gonna get a DMX controller and it's gonna be able to, have like a little station that I can just like click all this stuff on and off without having to like stick my backside up in the air. So this could be done, you know, we did this with an umbrella just because an umbrella is a really easy thing to set up and break down. But this is something that you could easily do with something like the 3-foot Octa. You know, I have the OCF 3-foot Octa right here. Again, a big, huge modifier. That's going to help give a nice soft light. The main goal is to get that light coming towards your subject to be soft, because again, just in your brain, whenever you're trying to dissect lighting, think about why the light looks the way that it looks, or why you like the way that light looks. And it's because a lot of people love it because it's so soft, it's so flattering. It's a really easy light to work with. So you can do the same thing with a big softbox that you did with an umbrella. So, you know, work with what you have. If you don't have either, you know, the upside for the umbrella is they're easy to set up and break down. Upside for the soft boxes is they're pretty robust. Really, really nice modifiers. So you can decide which one of those you want for yourself. So let's do these 3 photos side by side so you can kind of see what we're talking about on the build up.
There's a lot of people in the chat saying hello, hello, hello.
Tell everyone I said hi. Oh, you know what I haven't done? Let me double check. Sorry everybody. I'm gonna pull up my, I'm gonna pull up YouTube and make sure that if anyone has any questions there, I'd hate to miss them. Let's see. There we go. Let me just double check in. I don't see any questions so far on the tube. Perfect. That makes it easy. So let's bring in these 3 shots as we built it all up. Let's go full screen just so it's easier to compare all this stuff. So again, just think about, again, what it is about the light that you like. And so dissecting it is very, very easy. So again, nice soft light that we're getting from the A10, right? Then we bring in the sun, and you can see it back here turned off. You bring in the sun. The nice thing about it is all the flaring and stuff like that gets rid of the extra little body. I mean, you can see it slightly right there, but in the photo, it clearly doesn't play. It doesn't make a difference, but you can see that flare has come in here and dropped that contrast down some more on Kate, which is what we wanted, but there was still maybe a little bit more contrast over here, like on the arm, over here on the leg, than necessarily we wanted, even kind of here on the rim of the hat. So by throwing in that room fill, again with a CTO gel on it, just to keep everything nice and warm, we were able to bring that contrast down even more. So we were able to achieve that light and airy feel that everyone's looking for outside. Oh, hold on a second. Someone's got a live got another question popped up right here, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But this gives a nice light and airy feel to everything because we were able to keep the contrast low, and we were able to, again, the cool thing is do this inside. So let's see. So I have a question. Hey Chris, B10 with a Magnum reflector or B10 plus to buy? I have one B10, 2 A1s, and 1 A10 recommendation, please. I shoot weddings mainly. Hey Chris, Chris, B10 with a Magnum reflector or B10 plus to buy? So if you already have a B10, so the thing to ask yourself is, if you're trying to decide between a B10 or a B10 plus, everything.
Your audio popped out for a second. Just repeat yourself.
Okay, cool. So if you're trying to decide whether to get a B10 or a B10 plus, and you already have a B10, ask yourself, has the B10 failed you in any way, shape, or form with what it is that you do? If you've never had any problems with the B10 and you love the footprint, stay B10. My thought process always goes to, it's always nice to have that one extra stop of light in case you need it. So I personally, whenever I roll, I always roll with my B10 Plus because I just never know what might happen. But the upside is you have the Magnum. The OCF Magnum reflector is going to give you 2 more stops of light. So that's like taking your 250 watt light and making it a 1000 watt light. So again, if your B10's never failed you and you're super happy with it and you're going to pair it with a Magnum, you're going to get plenty of light output there anyway. So maybe you stay B10. But if you want that just in case you might run into it situation and you already have a B10, if you need to roll extra light, maybe the B10 Plus is the move. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of insight of the way that my silly brain works through some of this stuff, but I think it's a pretty good way of talking about it. Someone says, are you able to achieve the same effect with a recess? Oh wait, I looked at the chat from last week. Sorry about that. Chat from last week, I apologize. So again, this is a really easy technique to set up. Let's talk through what it is again, just so you know what it is that we were working on with this main shot right here. We have our umbrella with the A10. It's got I have it running with the OCF adapter. Again, you can take that OCF adapter and you can use a softbox on it. It has an umbrella port on it too, so I'm just using it with the umbrella port today. So I have the A10 on the OCF adapter with the half CTO. I keep forgetting that that's the half CTO. So there's a half CTO on that just to bring some warm light forward on Kate, but because again, we're trying to mimic that soft light that you get from golden hour, big soft modifier, right? Then we want the sun in there. So we have another A10 back here, full CTO, because it's going to be powered up a little bit more. What happens is with gels, the higher power that you go, the less the color is saturated. So I went with a little more saturated gel because I knew it was going to power up a little bit more. So it stays nice and warm. And then to bring all that contrast down some more, which you see here on the third shot with Kate, we have a room A10. And that again is just to add some more light to the room, bring the overall contrast down, make it continue to feel light and airy, because again, like we talked about, that light and airy feeling comes from less contrast. Now, let's talk about, again, if you want to do this outside, if you want to create golden hour in the environment anytime and anywhere, you can do the same thing. This one will not be necessary anymore, this third light. And granted, again, if you look here at the photos, the second light looks really, really beautiful. That 100% can pass for a light, airy golden hour shot. So you don't necessarily have to go with the third light. I just am a stickler for detail sometimes, and one of the things that separates the shot for me is this little bit of extra contrast here and on the arm and on this side of the body, whereas that third light brought that down, right? So when you're outside, just use your shutter speed as your third light. You take your shutter speed, slow it down until that ambient comes up the way that you want it to. It starts to fill in some of that contrast, and then you're good to go. Place your sunlight either at, if you're like in a field or something like that, place it at your horizon line or wherever the sun would naturally go down in the sky. So if you're in a field but there's a big tree line behind you, put it at the edge of the tree line. That way it feels like the sun is supposed to be there, right? If you put the sun at the edge of the field and there's still trees above it, that feels kind of silly. So just think about where the sun would naturally sit when you want that light right there, right? So put it at whatever the highest line is that differentiates the sky from the earth. Easy thing to remember. So you can put that there, and then again, go with a big soft modifier on your subject, because you want that light to feel like the rest of the sky is illuminating them, but the flash is going to give you a little bit more pop, maybe a touch more directionality that you're not going to get from a big gigantic sky. So it's kind of nice to add that in there, but then again, full CTO there, half CTO there, just to keep the light nice and warm. And then if you're outside, play with your white balance to make sure that the rest of the ambient's nice and warm and that everything matches, and you'll be good to go. So again, inside, 2 lights is fine. 3 lights is where I wanted to go with it, just to keep that contrast low, keep it light and airy. Outside, 2 lights to mimic the setup is more than enough. And you don't have to use the A10s. You can use any light. You could use the B10s, you could use B1s, all that good stuff.
Van asks, how did you balance the power between your main and your fill?
So it's just about, I felt it out. So let's bring you back in here really fast, and what we'll do is I'll turn everything back down again, and I'll just show you what the sunlight looks like without the fill, and then I'll show you kind of like where I decided. It's, for me, I didn't use a light meter or anything like that. It's just about kind of setting the lights to what looked good to me, and then bringing the light up or down to make it feel balanced. So let me just show you what the sun shot looks like just in and of itself. So let's kill these. The only reason I keep killing the overhead lights, everybody, is because, and then this light may still infect the shot a little bit, ignore it. But the reason I'm killing the overheads is because I'm shooting wide open. Or I'm shooting pretty close to wide open. So here is the sun. Oh, I need to actually turn it off. So let's go master, turn everything off. Let's go to group B and turn that back on. So here's the sunlight just by itself. So take a little tiny shimmy to your right. Yeah, there we go. 3, 2, 1. So that's just the sun by itself. So again, this is just by feel. To me, the way that the orange looks there, the way that the way that it's flaring, it feels really natural. So for me, creating this golden hour look is just about the way it feels. Does it feel like the way it should feel outside? To me, this is a very what's the word? Natural looking sun. Convincing. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
It's a very convincing sun.
Even though we have a white background.
Yeah, and then so from here, let's turn group A back on, and what we'll do is we'll play with the power, and just so you can see, let's go to group A, turn the head on, we're good there. So let's just play with the power a little bit. I'm gonna take it down 3 stops from where it is right now, just so we can kind of see. So we're gonna take them into session. Ready? 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. So it's just about finding the fill light that feels the most natural to you. I mean, this could be, here, let's put these 3.
Pop it back onto the screen here.
Yeah. Let's go command, bop, bop. And so balancing your fill with your main is totally, you know, one of those things that you have to decide whether or not you like the way that feels. Like, so this is kind of where I landed. This is what I liked. You could easily kind of split, this is a stop down from that. This is easily convincible, you could easily convince me that this was also the right exposure. I probably personally would maybe even bring this up a half a stop and be pretty happy with it. And then down here, you can see, I mean, the light's coming in there a little bit, but then here it's filling it in a little bit, but it's definitely not giving you the directionality that you would hope to get from something like that. So, again, for me, it was just about the way it feels. Getting that sun convincing to me first, and then bringing my fill light in and balancing it out to the way I want to. And then did the same thing with the third light. So with the room light, it came down to, was it giving me the contrast reduction that I was looking for? So hopefully that helped answer the question. I hope I answered the question. But that's essentially how I did it. It was nothing super technical. It was all just how the image made me feel. So let's give you guys some light. I'm gonna double check one more time to make sure I haven't missed any questions anywhere, because I would hate that. Is there anything on Facebook that's popped up?
I'm checking right now.
Cool. And I know Susan's feeding me stuff too.
And we have Anders.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
Brent's helping out here. Let's see.
Narendra Roa, hey, what's up, man? Thank you so much. I appreciate the love from on YouTube. Appreciate it. So that's gonna be it for the day. I mean, this is, I always think it's really, really fun to dissect light and what makes it what it is. And today we dissected golden hour. So we were able to make it feel light and airy. We were able to make the sun incredibly convincing, and we were able to do that inside. I mean, come on. I mean, let's go back to the shot here. Look at this shot. I mean, the cool thing about that is other than the fact that there's a white background, but then again, you know, you could conceivably believe that you're shooting up on the person and there's not anything really on the background, so it looks nice and warm and clean. But just by thinking about what light is doing and then making your flashes do the exact same thing gives you a lot of power. It's going to give you a lot of creative freedom. It's going to open up your schedule to be able to create. If you have a customer who's like, I can only shoot at 3 in the afternoon, but I really would love a golden hour setup, you can do that. That's a service that you can offer now, because you know how to control light. You know how to look at light, see what it's doing, and go, I can make that. And we did that today. Again, quick rundown. Our main light, medium white umbrella, CTO gel with an A10 and an OCF adapter to hold everything to the stand and the umbrella up. Really cool stuff. That's our main. Our sunshine is just another A10 with a full CTO gel on it. Cool. Our room fill is just another A10 with a CTO gel on it shot up into the ceiling. Again, if you're outside, third light, not necessary. Or if you don't care, third light, not necessarily necessary. The 2 light setup ourselves, did a great job. Here's one other thing that I'll add, and I know that we're adding this here towards the end, but I want to drive this home because it just dawned on me while I do it. So I always put my fill light on the same side as where the sun is coming from. That makes it feel a little more natural. It makes it feel like the sun is lighting the shot. If you were to put the reflector over here, okay, it's gonna start to feel like a cross-lit shot, and it's not going to be as convincing that it's not using flash. So keep your main on the same side that your sun is, or the sun is, to maintain a look and feel of no flash. Thank you all so much for kicking it with us. This was super fun. Again, we dissected golden hour. We dissected how to make that light and airy feeling inside using just A10s and a couple of easy to use modifiers. So that being said, we're done for the week. We're doing one. We decided to extend the show out today and just do one this week. So it's super fun. Hopefully you got a lot of information out of this. If you want to talk any more about some of this stuff, you can jump into like a one-on-one breakout session. I know we have Anders on standby. We might even have Gibbe. I have no idea who's on the other end of that thing, but they could be there, and they love you and they want to talk to you. So in the meantime, click that one-on-one session if you want to talk deeper about some of this stuff with one of those really rad dudes. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, any things that you'd like to see us cover, let us know. We're always down to make some more rad videos. In the meantime, have an awesome rest of your week. See you next time. Peace out.